Retrograde Amnesia is a member of the Greenlit Podcast Network, a coalition of creator-owned podcasts focused on video gaming, entertainment, and pop culture. Go to greenlitpodcast.com to find out about all the great shows on the network. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Chris.
Have you been to the internet before?
Once when I was young, yes.
Okay. Have you used hypertext transfer protocols?
Yes, on the World Wide Web.
Yes. Okay. So you can go there and go to patreon.com/retroam and support this podcast if you like it. Please do if you'd like to. Now, would you like to hear some hot sounds that I have recorded?
Yes.
Welcome to Retrograde Amnesia, a comprehensive podcast about Xenogears. Tonight, we march forward in our quest to add heavyweight champions, co-players of the match, a Wimbledon Grand Slam, a baseball Triple Crown, and Pulitzer Prize to our list of accomplishments. Previously, this list included started a very long podcast about Xenogears and nothing else. My name is Chris. I'm joined tonight by Eric. Hey, Eric.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, that was a reference.
Yeah.
How are you tonight?
I'm pretty good. How's Chris today?
Chris is doing great. We are getting ready to get into the final side quest of Xenogears. Also, we are joined tonight by The Real Net. The Real Net is a collection and collective of patrons who support us on patreon.com/retroam, join us on Discord, and listen to us record live. They give us valuable feedback, and they're all very intelligent, and we love them all.
We are also joined by the Fake Net, our AI companion, who looks up stuff for us when we falter.
Which is often.
Initializing Fake Net.
I want to know if both of you have the same amount of blood.
Thank you, Fake Net. So, Eric, now we are ready to hear the hot sounds of the last side quest.
Yes, in our previous episode, we went and did almost everything we could think of in the remaining parts of the world map.
Yes.
Except for one thing.
One thing.
The mysterious lighthouse that I don't think appears as an icon on the map, does it?
It does not. Because
it's just as a lighthouse.
I kept getting confused because I had entered and left this place multiple times because I went back to the shop that we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I left, I would be like, oh, wait, there is a dot on the map. But then I realized that dot was myself.
Yes.
And
way to go.
And then I would continue to forget where the lighthouse is. But it's kind of near the Babel Tower, I think a little bit southeast.
Could you go here before and they just didn't let you in?
I don't think it was even on the map.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
That sounds weird then.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know where this thing came from. There are no NPCs that give us a hint about it, I don't think.
Well, Sidon has some stuff when we first arrived there.
He does, but I'm talking about like there's no hints. There's no like the captain of the Thames doesn't say, hey, I saw a lighthouse out there. There's no quest giver for this thing, we should say. So you took Sidon, Faye, and who else? Emeralda?
Billy.
You took Billy.
I think I took Billy.
So you took Billy at first. Interesting. Okay, that's I'm glad you did that because I have a question about something that comes up later. So I took Sidon, Emeralda, and Faye. I knew that Emeralda has a thing here, so I went ahead and brought her with me.
No, I took Sidon. It was definitely Sidon. It was Sidon, Emeralda, and Faye.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Sorry.
So you're right. When you first get there, Sidon explains that no one knows what this thing is. And then we go down a large elevator.
He said it was built several thousand years ago. The lighthouse part was added later.
And that kind of backs up what I was thinking, too, because as soon as you go in the lighthouse, you go down a large service elevator.
It was a squeaky elevator.
Yes. And I believe that this elevator has many implications. Like, I think the Zeboim ruins were hidden away via the construction of this lighthouse.
Oh, okay. Like that was an access point and they wanted to, well, wouldn't they just bury it, or do they need access so they keep the lighthouse, quote unquote, there on top of it?
Maybe. This had to be a dig site being run by the Ethos.
Okay. Zeboim was up on the surface and then sank at a certain point, right? Because later on when we actually see some flashbacks, it's permanent night.
Yeah.
So that just makes me think it was always underground. But I know it's like a hard thing to mentally separate.
Yeah, that's for sure.
When we get in the bottom, it is the soundtrack is the industrial clanging noise.
Yeah.
First heard in the Goliath factory.
Yeah, I was excited because I thought that the dungeon music here was going to be Omen because it's Omen in the overworld, but once you go down, it's just the echoey, banging industrial noise, like you said.
Faye notes that this is the city we saw from Emeralda's ruins, which is that shit we saw in the background from the glass tube.
Yes.
where we fought Id, when we were like, oh, wow, that's a really cool background.
Yeah, cool bitmap.
It's a future city.
I'm glad they used that bitmap to denote the city, a technique that would also be used in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question about this city. The Perfect Works tells us, or it teaches us that the Earth that we live on now, this game takes place on this planet, it's not really the Earth, but this is sort of like the real Earth, the original Earth, the Earth we live on today is sort of canon. Everything sort of came from here.
Yes.
Are the children of Deus just predisposed to creating an Earth-like society?
So 2 things. One, when I got down there, I was surprised to see that it looked 90s modern, because in that bitmap, in that tube, it looked like future city, right? And 2, the way I interpret your question is humans had the blueprint from Deus, who had the blueprint from humans. So I assume in the trials of humanity, in order to make parts, inevitably was going to try 90s society as for one of the cycles, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like that would be the finite endpoint that they would reach when the parts were ready or not ready. What's also interesting is for an area that's totally optional, all these assets are totally unique.
Yeah.
Like none of this stuff is recycled from anywhere. It's not machine tubes that we traveled through in all the dungeons in Solaris in the Anima Relics.
Right.
It is city streets, yellow striped asphalt, big buildings, dark complexion. It's not a big city, but it is a fairly interesting kaiju type experience.
Yeah, you wonder if they were going to do more with this. I mean, there's a lot here, but you wonder if there was going to be more from a mechanical video game exploration perspective here, because there's a couple of like walled off areas and doors that don't open.
Like huge factories. Yeah. It reminds me, I know I've said this before, but Xenosaga 2 had almost as much content after the game as it did in the game.
Yeah.
Dungeons they just made that they couldn't slot in for the story for whatever reason. So it may be someone finished this, but they didn't have a proper way to do it.
I'm sure that's common in games like this.
I'm sure Emeralda's gear, Omni gear, may have been down here.
Yeah. So this place has some random battles, Eric.
Yes. We fight some. Did you write these down?
I have at least 4 of them, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I have dragons.
Yes.
The same dragons we fought on Dune Man's Isle.
The walking dragons.
Yeah, the walking dragons, 4-legged black dragons. We have those hammerhead guys.
Yes.
But they have a suffix of F1.
Yeah, and there's a weird distinction between battles you should definitely fight in gears and battles you should definitely fight on foot.
Yeah.
It's weird how they're blended.
It doesn't make any sense. I think they just kind of threw stuff down here.
Yeah.
Maybe they were going to do something a little bit more. I mean, this kind of happened in I think the second Anima dungeon where the Croaker tribe would show up and you would just step on their fucking heads.
Yeah.
So, and also, by the way,
Croaker tribe
Croaker tribe
tends to navigate towards areas of
I mean, this is pretty good. It's not like a dank cave system. There is former civilization. You can squat in here and have a pretty good life. As long as you can get a food supply.
Yeah, they should have shouted out to their Croaker tribe cousins in the Anima Relic dungeon.
Like, of anywhere on this planet where I would choose to live, it'd be Zeboim.
Yeah, especially post-terraforming Deus situation.
Especially if it's... Yeah, you could keep everybody down there, man. Move the snowfield hideout.
Sure.
It's probably irradiated or something.
Yeah.
All those nukes.
You can also fight griffins here, which I don't think those are as common as the other ones, but I did run into them at least once. I think the carriers are also here, the little dinosaur guys that we fought in the Ethos dig site, and I think that's all I have.
That's all I ran into as well. I did not like how you have to get out of your gears at some point to walk in specially marked buildings, and then on the path out of there back to my gear, I would get in random battles on foot versus dragons.
Right.
That was upsetting.
Yeah.
There's only one save point down here, and if you have done a lot of things before you get there, it can make it rough to get back if you get wiped.
Yeah, I had at least one moment in which that happened to me, and I was essentially down to my final turn to where I had to, like, if the escape button wasn't going to work that time, I was going to lose some progress because I was not in a situation where I could save states.
You don't know a weird thought I had down here? My father's worked in project management for a construction company for road paving, asphalt, forever.
Yep.
So I know a lot about asphalt just from talking to him. Not a lot, but more than your average person knows about fucking rocks.
Right.
And the immediate thing I thought was, wow, these roads are in pretty good shape for being down here for 500 or 3,000 years, whatever it is.
Did you notice that the cars in the parking lot are at a weird scale?
No, I didn't.
They don't look out of place when you're in gears because the gears tower over them. But when you're on foot, it looks like they're like the sprites are taller than the gears.
They couldn't scale it right.
Yeah, they couldn't scale it just right because they're too close to where you could write it off and being like, whoa, those are way off in the distance. But they are. It's weird. It looks strange.
Just like me. So we're ready to start going into buildings.
We are, and it's nice, too. I appreciate Faye. I don't know if he needed to acquire infinite knowledge in order to have this moment for us, but I'm glad that he points out the fact, hey, we should get out of our gears and go into these buildings, because some of them are very easy to miss.
Yeah. There's a bunch, and I think almost, maybe there's one exception. They have yellow light flowing out of the door.
Yeah.
There's also some treasure chests. There's a death blower 3 in a corner somewhere.
Yep.
And then in one of the unmarked buildings you can go into is the Godfather gun for Billy.
Yep. Hey, Eric, where did you go first here?
I went to the TV studio first.
Oh, cool. You know what?
I made a loop around to the right and then hooked back left, and that was the first building I encountered.
So you're just ready to give me the lore right now, aren't you?
Yes.
I missed the TV studio the first time I went here.
Really?
I appreciate.
How'd you do that?
Shut up. I'm stupid and I suck. Well, I think part of the reason
Ding ding.
this when you rotate the camera here, it's if you don't rotate it properly, you can miss some of these entryways because it's not the camera's not in a great place.
Yeah, polygonal city streets. There's a good reason why that didn't happen, except for in Driver and Die Hard Arcade.
Yeah, the camera should have been a little bit higher. I don't know if they have the technology to move the camera dynamically or easily here, but that's what screwed me up. And I appreciate, shout out to RealNet member Dent D, who reminded me I should go do this when we were chatting in Discord one night.
Chris didn't blunder like he did at Snowfield Hideout.
Yes. Thank you, RealNet. So I'm glad you folks are here with us. So
you walk in the TV studio. First thing you see is the ND News. It's a neat logo. Someone actually did some logo design for this news station.
Yeah. What does the ND stand for?
I'm not sure.
Dominoes.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Okay. Notre Dame News. Sure. Notre Dame
No
News.
diggity.
No
doubt. So you walk in. The thing you see, it's like there's a set right up front.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing to see right next to the entrance of a building.
Yeah. Usually that's in the back room.
You think there'd be reception or something, but it's just the news. And it's full of 90s era video cameras and mic stands, and there's a stack of pallets.
Yeah.
And there's a save point because, of course, the Gazelle's monitoring shit down here.
Of course, they have to be.
It looks very contemporary for 1995 TV news.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
There's not really much on the first floor. Did you see anything of interest down there?
No, not really. The main thing I said to me were those TV cameras, those big, huge ones, those big ones that you see
on the stands.
It reminded me of whenever, like, you're watching I don't know, people don't really do this anymore, but in the time, 1998, you would be watching, Conan O'Brien or Letterman or something, and when they would, how they'd pan the audience or like show one of the camera guys or something like that, it reminded me of those big, huge cameras those guys would point out. That's the only times you really see those.
Whenever I watch news footage from the 90s or there, I salivate at the PVM monitors in great supply. Stacks of those things.
Yeah.
Ugh. So next is upstairs.
Yes. The upstairs is like a production room, correct?
It's like an office and a control room, I think.
Yeah.
There's an office in the back, control room in the front. There's a whole bunch of chairs and multiple workstations and consoles.
Even though we're in these are ruins from an ancient civilization, and they look like this because they're ruins, I still imagine that this room looks like it does because everyone in here was smoking.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Especially in Japan.
Yeah.
Whenever you see that footage of video game development in Japan from the 90s that was broadcast on TV, everything is yellow. A lot of indoor smoking.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's only one point of interaction here, right?
Yeah. It's a point of interaction. I think it's in the upper, or the northeastern terminal here. It's
not glowing or anything, is it? It's just there. And if you happen to hit X when you're by it, you get this slideshow.
Yeah, you can easily miss this. And I wouldn't call this, well, no, I will call this essential lore. Like, this is important to understanding the story of Faye, Kim, and Emeralda, for that matter.
Kim is more of a character than Rico is.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. We get a lot. I mean, a lot of the Lacan timeline stuff had to be sort of force-fed to us via a bunch of continuous cutscenes. They didn't do that with Kim, and I kind of understand why, because they needed to finish the game. Also, they probably didn't want people to quit playing the game either. So
because Kim has a bunch of episode 3, I think, of the whole tale, and I just had daytime fantasies about one day playing episode 3 and then seeing flash forwards to Xenogears activity from Kim, like if that's your first game, how it foreshadows itself.
Yeah, it would have been neat to see them try to tackle the problem of episode 3 in terms of how that would be a JRPG.
Yeah.
But I guess it would probably be more like Mega Man Battle Network or something than it would be like Xenogears, but
I got a cold chill. Thank you.
Sure.
I don't like that game.
Okay.
So
I don't really care for it.
What's the first thing you see on this movie? It is a slide of what?
It's an F-16 maybe? A fighter jet of some sort?
It looked like F-4 Phantom to me, but it could have been F-16. It's a very similar plane.
I only know about The only jets I really know are the Starscream and his Seekers.
Or transforms into, that's a F-15.
Okay, sure.
Of course, Chris.
Sure, okay. I haven't got the Masterpiece Starscream yet, sorry. So,
the next slide is a bunch of people in a courtroom or something with one guy speaking at a podium.
yes, we do get some dialogue here from an indeterminate speaker. I think it's probably Faye.
It's Kim.
It's Kim, okay. It says...
Well, this is Faye, but some of this is narrated and it is Kim.
Okay. Well, the first line of dialogue we get is a record of the Zeboim culture that died out 4,000 years ago, which is something that I think is important to reiterate to the player, especially a first-time player, right at the top. Like, even though it feels like we're in a place from the future, reading this as like a human being from Earth, this is like our society. This is actually a relic of the past.
The next slide is a guy holding up a hand to swear an oath.
Yeah.
So he's testifying at some kind of thing. And then after that, we get a shot of a woman's face. Someone says, "Stop it," and asks who the woman is.
Yes.
Who's the woman?
The woman is Miang.
She looks like 90% of current Miang.
Yeah, basically. She's
Very
got the same
close.
haircut.
Yeah.
It's like whenever Miang takes over a body, she changes her hair immediately. Whoever's narrating this scene doesn't quite know who Miang's host body is. I guess this is Faye narrating. He would be the only one that would have insight into this.
Or it could be an audio log.
Yeah, and it says she resided at the side of the prime minister, manipulating the world behind the scenes, which sounds like a very Miang thing to do here, right?
Extremely Miang.
Yep.
Then there's a slide of robotic gears, prototypes, Did you see that? It was like mechs.
I wrote it down as a still shot of gears lining up to signify the beginning of like an escalation of war.
Yeah.
And the dialogue that pops on the screen that says, "To resurrect Deus?" As if like they're
wondering what that's for here in the present.
Yeah. Faye and friends are musing about what Miang was doing behind the scenes, like why she was manipulating the entire Zeboim culture from behind the scenes here.
Next is a slide of infantry and tanks.
Yes, a photo of the troops. Respect the troops. It says, the narration comes in and it says, "In the beginning, yes, but later it was different. Many people couldn't have children. They were defective humans, so she did it over again."
That's implying that due to their short lifespan, Miang punched the panic button, wiped out civilization, restart again.
Yeah, these people
this is the third time.
These people were not ripe to be parts for Deus, basically.
Yes.
Is what the point of this is. And the solution then is communicated to us on the next slide, which is a picture of a warhead, the same warhead we saw in the mass driver's facility.
It's a missile silo, which, as we know, the Zeboim culture loved their weapons so much.
They did. I have the quote here. It says, "Right before man was about to be killed out by war, a new being was born to foster the next generation. Remember the missiles in the mass driver facility? That was the most important thing to the Zeboim people. Because of that, we are now descendants of the few strong people who survived." Which, that's a little bit of a weird line, but I think it's trying to paint a picture of this war and imperialism and exceptionalism maybe overtaking the Zeboim country. I think the implication is that the military industrial complex was like supporting that was more important than solving the infertility problem that was sweeping over society.
Weird how war could just become the most important thing you'll spend money on. As Americans, both Chris and I were once married to guns before we met our current partners.
Yeah.
Chris still actually has his that he doesn't tell his partner about. He's kind of like an on the side thing, but...
No, Eric, that's a sword I bought in Gatlinburg.
Oh, God. Also, there was one final slide I don't think we noted. It was a lot of people standing together doing what appeared to be the Nazi salute in a big crowd.
Oh.
It probably wasn't the Nazi salute, but it could easily be interpreted as that.
Then it cuts out. And Faye is now talking. And he says, "A slipping economy, rising crime, urban blight, a nation of fanatics looking for their own living space, believing in religious sect leaders and gathering around the totalitarian rulers. These people were cut off from the next generation thanks to genetic damage and would have died out if left to their own devices. So Elly and I took the hopes of the people and created Emeralda."
When you played that, I'm sure you thought of Faye speaking from Kim in the present, but I interpreted that as something like Kim wrote and mailed to the news station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I guess it could go. It's probably yours.
And at this point in time, I started to appreciate how, and this is true for the rest of the game and the localization remains very cognizant that Faye, Kim, and Lacan are all one person. So has lived so many lifetimes now that he kind of speaks as himself, not just the Faye that we know, but he speaks from first person, from the Lacan perspective occasionally, and also speaks from the Kim perspective occasionally. And also, I really appreciate how Faye is now the complete authority on all lore.
Yeah.
From that read.
He's a first person perspective.
Yeah, finally.
It's like when Shepard got that Prothean on his squad.
Yeah.
In Mass Effect 3.
It's not often, I guess maybe with the exception of Cloud. He's the only one I can think of right now where the main character is the deliverer of all the backstory in the lore.
I mean, Cloud's not a reliable narrator.
No, Cloud's not reliable, but he does know shit about how things work, about how Shinra works and how the world works.
Yeah, I guess.
In Final Fantasy VII Remake, he delivers a lot of this is what's going on with Shinra.
Yeah, he's full of shit though.
Yeah, well, that's part of that's part of how the twist in that game works.
I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? But he's the one. Not necessarily. I'm not saying I'm not making a judgment on whether he's reliable or not. I'm making a judgment on whether or not he's the one that gives you information about how things work.
Sure.
He's more experienced than Avalanche to a certain extent, and now Faye is kind of starting to fill that role.
When I was trying to find if there was anything else in this room, I discovered that if you click that again, you watch this whole thing again.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, game.
Don't want to miss the lore. Might need to take notes on it.
So that's all I've got for the TV studio.
Me too.
Next, I have the convenience store.
Yes.
The bodega. The 7-Eleven.
Yes.
When I was in Japan, all I went to were 7-Elevens.
Oh.
As far as stores like this.
How's that?
It was just like it is here.
Oh, cool.
Better to-go options and better drinks. Melon soda. Catch it. Yes, it's gray and it's dark. All the shelves are empty.
Yep.
The cashier station at the front, there are stacks of magazines and cardboard boxes.
Yep.
Do you think this is empty because the food's just simply rotted away and disintegrated? There is a pandemic run that wiped it out.
Ugh.
Or whatever nuke that hit this place vaporized whatever was in all the organic compounds.
Or option number 4, the Croaker tribe ate it all.
Actually, yeah. No, that's a good... Yeah, no, the Croaker tribe got in there and used their mandibles to pry open the canned goods.
Indeed. Yeah, it is empty. There's like some boxes and magazines laying around everywhere.
Yeah.
It's almost as if somebody was like packing up and leaving. Maybe.
Yeah.
That could be it too.
Like, I don't need all these nudie mags. But what they did leave are some magazines that you can walk up to and click and get information. What's the first magazine you found?
The first floor magazine is the tutorial on hyper mode / infinity mode.
Chris, what's hyper mode / infinity mode?
That is when you are in your Omni gear.
Mm-hmm.
And you're at a level 3 attack, and occasionally your attack level will slip into infinity mode, and you will unlock some additional low fuel
death blows.
Yeah, death blows
for 3 turns.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. This tells you how the percentage chance of you entering that mode is calculated, and something that I would come to find out later, that this percentage is actually shown on the HUD.
It's part of that information on the right side, the green text.
Yes.
But basically, you increase your chances for getting to hyper mode by, I think, taking damage and then doing more attacks, boosts chances by 25%.
I think the lower your HP goes,
yes,
the higher your chances are.
Kind of like a limit break in that sense?
Yeah, the line from I think the third page of this says, for example, if a gear's HP has been reduced by 50% of its total, then the chance of invocation would be 5 times 50 divided by 10 equals 25%. So in this case, when the attack level reaches 3, there's a 25% chance that hyper mode will set into motion.
Thanks, Dr. Algebra.
Yes. It's weird that this is laying around as a magazine in a grocery store because I'm
in an optional dungeon underneath that's not marked.
Well, also that, but also like, why is it in a grocery store? Because
Krellian was reading it when he was waiting for shit to cook and he left it here.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess. But Krellian wasn't born yet.
Well, no, I'm saying he's been down here.
Oh, okay.
Clearly he knows about this place, right? Krellian has been all up through here.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you now.
It's just something he left behind. Maybe those are all stacks of stuff he read when he was down here.
Yeah. Or alternatively, they just needed something to put here.
It is messed up that this is the only place in the game to get this information without learning it, without just experimenting.
Yeah.
Like, why do we hide essential to, like, Bingo should be telling us this shit, or the guy at the gear dock.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be in a convenience store in a stack of magazines.
Absolutely.
Did you get the magazine about slave generators? Well, there's the magazine about slave generators there too, and it talks about how they were these kind of, the effects of them and how essentially they were used to build the cores of what gears turned out to be.
This is telling us something that we already know at this point in time, though, right? Because I think we've been...
If we knew, I forgot.
Okay. I think we know that from some of the readings that we've done, Perfect Works and whatnot, but I think the game has mentioned slave generators in the past. And it's very possible that when Faye met the Wave Existence a few weeks ago, that there was some reference to this information as well.
Yeah. I also noted in my notes that there are standard DC power outlets and floor mats in here.
Yeah, that's true.
They really were a part of 90s civilization. So then we went upstairs.
Yep.
There's another cashier counter with a Death Blower 1 behind it. I pictured this as like maybe the cigar room or something.
Yeah.
Because why else would there be a separate register here? Like, we can't sell alcohol in the same building we sell snacks.
Or this is where they sell porn.
Yeah, the porn room.
Yeah.
I've been to a porn room.
Sure. It's weird. So the first magazine here that I found was the Eldritch one. Should I read that one now?
Yes.
Okay. The Eldridge was equipped with history's first ever inexhaustible pseudo-perpetual engine. This was not just a highly efficient generator, but it also made possible the production of the defense fields from its unique AO, absolute object, space, and actuation of hyperlight speed, SV, subject variable navigation, etc.
Thank you, Commander Cisco.
With a design based on Heisenberg's proposition's S matrix, which is the solution to the uncertainty principle's reciprocal relationship of particles or cosmic wave. It was thus also known as the S-matrix engine or Heisenberg engine.
This is a lore guy having the time of his life.
Yeah. And finally, on the third page, he gets to explain himself fully. In principle, assuming all the phenomena of the immediate future, including the present, are potential phenomena, it actualizes the most convenient phenomenon amongst these active subjects as the actual phenomenon and accordingly takes advantage of the resulting energy potential displacements.
Chris, summarize that in one sentence.
The Eldritch had some engine
high-tech shit
thing on there, and they are being used now. This was either, yes, the lore guy having the time of his life, or alternatively, it was somebody just fucking having fun.
Yeah.
You know, just putting a bunch of shit in there and hoping that someday, 20 years later, somebody would read it on a podcast and get confused.
Well, hey, man, get ready to double down on some guy having fun because the final magazine has something wonderful in it.
Yes, the final magazine is the Big Joe backstory.
This is awful hard to find.
Yeah.
It took me, I didn't know, I probably missed it the first night I played this game, but I ended up, Chris sent me a picture on his phone of where it was and I still couldn't access it. And you have to click. Is it on the exact same pixel of the other stack of magazines? You just have to stay in the same spot, finish reading that one, and move on to that one?
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's hard to pick up.
I left here and went to a couple of the other rooms to try to, because I knew there was a big,
it had to be up here.
Yeah, I knew there was a Big Joe thing here in Zeboim somewhere, and I left, looked for more rooms, thought maybe I missed something, and then eventually came back here and found it.
But what you find is a precious reward.
Indeed. The precious reward is the lore of Big Joe.
Is this like a Big Joe comic book? Or is it just like a data sheet? What do you have in your mind?
I have in mind this is like is
it the back of his baseball card?
A People magazine.
Oh, okay.
That's explaining the rise and fall of Big Joe. Former WWW heavyweight champion and 5-time hit movie star Big Joe, all caps, real name Joey Balboa, added NBA's Player of the Match to his list of accomplishments for the year.
All those NBA matches.
All those matches, which include the Wimbledon Grand Slam, a baseball Triple Crown, and the Pulitzer Prize. But at the award ceremony, when he went to shake hands, he slipped, hit his head, and went home brain damaged. Burnt out, thinking he's Elvis.
Perfect.
Okay.
So, two things.
Yeah.
Well, one thing, really. I love the idea that in attempting to reconstruct the apex of 90s culture, they've gotten all the proper nouns for sports tournaments right, but have fucked up, like, which one goes where.
Yeah.
Like, they've won the NBA match, Wimbledon.
Yeah.
He's a WWE superstar.
It says WWW.
Yeah, well, that's...
It's like, that's the one they got wrong.
Yeah, well, there is the pending litigation of WWE versus WWF around that point.
Yeah,
right?
true.
The Balboa thing, the Elvis, like, you can't tell if it is a mishmash of pop culture, a localizer having a lot of fun, or legitimate commentary on how they've grossly misinterpreted proper society.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's great, though. I love it.
It's wonderful. It is a great backstory on our favorite NPC.
And now we can finally confirm that Big Joe has been alive for 4,000 years.
Yes, he's a Zeboim relic.
Or it's at some point was frozen or something. Who knows?
Captain America.
Yep.
So the way this was included reminded me, there's always little treats you find in RPGs of the localizers definitely having fun.
Right.
In Panzer Dragoon Saga, if you examine this bar at the bottom of the town of Zoa, in the corner it'll just say, "They killed Kenny." Which South Park was super hot in 98,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
people were like, "Oh, it's South Park in my legendary RPG."
Yeah. Lunar was kind of like that too, where it snuck in a lot of...
The Clinton jokes.
Yeah, it snuck in jokes and weird references throughout the main dialogue, actually.
This was stuff that you would, like, the careful pixel hunter would find. There wasn't really an internet to go collect this shit and look it up on.
Right.
Like, you weren't going to get fired for doing this stuff back then, probably.
Yeah, you couldn't patch it out.
Yeah.
The award-winning Go Nintendo podcast covers the latest Nintendo news while also diving into what's hot in pop culture, music trivia, hands-on impressions, and so much more. Hopefully we can make you laugh, too. You'll find new episodes of the Go Nintendo podcast on the Greenlit Podcast Network every single week.
Hey Benito, I've been reading the Bible lately, and nobody ever told me how many talking dogs and wizard battles were in this thing.
Well, Chris, you know what I always say. If you can understand Star Wars, you can understand the Bible.
Apocrypals, part of the Greenlit Podcast Network.
So, are you ready to move on to the next location?
Yeah, there's only one more place, right?
One more optional place, or one more, side place is the next place over. You go in and the music changes.
Yeah. Flight plays.
It is. It's playing Flight, which...
Sure.
Why
Flight is one of the better get amped tracks.
Yeah, but I was wondering, hey, why should I be getting amped for going in this
It looks
random...
like it's a cafe. There's tables and chairs stacked up everywhere. There's a big front glass facing window. There's two big columns and a bench in the center. This looked like an Olive Garden.
Yeah. Yes. The breadsticks are still there.
Yeah,
but they
they're
never ran
flowing,
out.
man.
Yeah, they never ran out.
Olive Garden. When you're here,
Your family. So, who's here, Eric?
Big Joe is here, surrounded by treasure chests.
Speaking of the damn devil, it's Big Joe. He's here.
The 4 chests around him respawn every time you enter and leave.
Yes.
One of them gave me a spider.
Cool. I got a lot of interesting things here, but the most interesting thing that I got here was the Book 2. Do you remember what the Book 2 is?
Was that the one the kid wiped his ass with?
It is. It has the same description as the comic book the kid wiped his ass with and gave it to you in the orphanage. It was used to unlock, like, Billy's secret door.
Yeah, with those 3 books.
Implication being that Big Joe has recovered the ass-wiped comic book and put it in a treasure chest in an ancient ruins of civilization.
That he can give to you.
That he can give to me for God knows why, but we have it now.
Do you have the description for book 2?
It says, not very comical anymore.
Yeah. Do you have book 1?
No, I don't.
The Adventures of Big Joe.
Oh, yeah. I remember we noted that originally.
And then I also I got UFO photo this
Yeah.
time. I looked at its description. It says, shows a typical Adamaski type.
Adamaski.
I have no idea. Didn't look it up either. Fake net, please.
Initializing fake net.
It's likely a reference to George Adamski, a UFO researcher who claimed to have photographed spaceships from other planets, met with friendly Nordic alien space brothers, and to have taken flights with them to the moon and other planets.
Thank you.
Personally, I think Adamski may have been lying.
So you can talk to Big Joe.
Yeah.
What does Big Joe have to say?
He's got Big Joe branded gear to sell us.
Joe brand parts.
Yes. And I'm glad to...
It's like Costco with Kirkland or whatever.
Yeah. He's very nonchalant about it. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, I got this shop. I'm here, guys.
Yeah, of course I'm here. Where
Sure.
else would I be?
Also, I'm in Nordstrom right now.
For some reason, he still speaks to Chris, even though Chris left him in a prison to die.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's true. He spoke to me in Nordstrom as well, and he was happy I still had the M disc, so whatever. There's a bunch of things that you can buy here.
Good things.
got a selection of good things on sale, stranger.
The gear in his shop is designed for you to increase your output while reducing your fuel significantly.
Yeah, it isn't almighty. Well, there are some almighty stuff, but there is some stuff that is highly tuned and highly specialized for a very specific style of play.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, you know what? If it's Big Joe brand, I got to get it, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So-
You can afford it. It's expensive stuff.
Yeah, I had to make a couple of trips back and forth to
To go sell some stuff.
I wanted to rig a couple of my gears to be Big Joe branded, and I decided to choose the Crescent's Emeralda, and I got her a Omega 100 engine, which takes her output all the way up and takes her fuel down to like 1,000.
1,000
Yeah.
fuel. Yeah.
And also, I decided to do the same with the El Remazuo and make Billy super strong with some really high output as well. He also has some new frames for both Rico and Emeralda.
Yes.
Don't know
Which is just them.
Correction. Both Rico and Maria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The number 17, 38,000, and the STIE, 36,000.
The one for sure thing to buy is the Z Gold armor, right? Like that is good armor. That is good 100 armor for everybody.
I think the Z Gold armor or the Z Alloy 80/30 are both really good.
Which that one is for ether protection as well.
Yeah, the Z Alloy 80/30 is probably a little bit better because Deus and his minions have some pretty decent ether attacks.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm not going to tell you what I bought specifically because it's good for a reveal later when we fight Deus.
Okay, well, I also got my hands on a couple of Z chargers as well.
Z chargers charge 500 fuel per hit.
Yeah,
very nice items
per charge.
Yes,
and that's really, I mean, those are essentially essential for anybody.
The Omega 100s.
Yeah, anybody going to put an Omega 100 on. The Z90 1500 is a little bit lower output, but it gives you 1500 fuel, which I think I may put on one of my other gears as well.
He also sells an item that is stackable that you can put in the accessory thing called the GNRS 50s.
Yeah.
These boost gear output by 50%.
Yes, there's no downside either. They're just really expensive, right?
Yeah, they're really expensive, and then you can't put any like AR plus 9s or whatever. Do you know what GNR stands for?
No.
Chris, it's Guns N' Roses.
Really?
I mean, probably not, but that's the only GNR I've known in my life.
Okay, cool.
He also sells some joke items. Did you note the Tragedienne and the Comedienne?
Yeah, they make you play dead or wake up or something.
One makes you play dead, the Tragedienne, and the Comedienne makes you stop playing dead. Like, oh, I'm back. I didn't use any of them, but I assume when you play dead, enemies don't attack you.
I guess that, I mean, maybe they would have been useful at a point in time in which you had to do a lot of on-foot battles or something, but
maybe like you would just show up to the battle dead and they would just run away from you instead. Like, oh, I guess we got him.
Also,
most importantly,
he sells Samson's hair.
Wasn't where I was going with that, but yes, he does sell Samson's hair.
Yes. I just thought it was funny that he's selling Samson's hair. So anyway.
When Samson died, he just scalped him and he's just been keeping it down there.
Sure. That's all he could do.
Big Joe is definitely up there. He also sells drugs.
Yeah.
He sells drives.
Yeah, he does. He does sell the drive.
They're $10,000 a piece.
Yes.
But drives permanently boost your stats.
Yes.
Which are very good.
Yes. Did you buy some?
Not this time.
I didn't either.
It got pretty bad with I'm not going to say what I did with my gears, but what I tried to do cost a lot of money, and I ended up selling almost everything I had on me to try to afford.
Yeah.
A very bad idea.
Okay. You were trying to do a bit and you failed miserably.
Yeah. I kind of forgot how the end of the game was going to go and didn't look it up and was very poorly prepared.
Okay. Well, congratulations to you, Eric.
But yeah, if you know all this is here, I don't even know if any of this stuff's necessary, but it's nice that there's stuff down here to tinker with.
Yeah.
To give you some options.
Junk.
To
tinker with. Next, we're back outside. We're on our gears, in our gears.
Yeah, there's no kind of goodbye from Joe. He's like, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, sure.
How's it going?
Join my party. No.
So the remainder of things to explore back here, there's a very large open area at the end. There's like a loading dock for a facility of some kind. I imagine that is Kim's scientist army facility.
Sure, why not?
Like for what we know about Zeboim, that may have been that. But then the thing that is kind of hard to find, you only notice it if you walk over it when Faye's like, hey, we can get out here. It's a manhole entrance.
Yeah, to me it looked like just a bunch of rubble, but...
Oh, just a pile of shit? Yeah, I don't know if you can actually see what it is.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It is a sewage manhole entrance for this game's third sewer.
Yep.
Actually, it's not a sewer, it's a subway tunnel. And it snakes around to a station with a subway car. Text is written on the walls, but it's impossible to make out on my 480i television. I got Zoecia, Zoiecia. Did you see any of that stuff with your smoothed out emulation?
I did, and I did turn the resolution up to see if I could make it out, but it just looked like it was Zeboim, but not spelled exactly like Zeboim.
Inside the train car, which is marked number 8, is a Z charger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good.
Yeah, those are really good.
Those are really good.
But unless you already bought them.
Yes.
For your gears. And then going up the stairs, did you have anything else, any other notes in this subway tunnel?
No, I wondered if maybe the train track assets were the same thing from the gear dock raid sequence. I'm sure they were.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, I don't think that much of this was crafted.
Yeah, and you can't rotate the camera where we're about to go either. It's very kind of like a stage play.
Yeah.
So you walk up, and immediately June Mermaid starts playing.
It does. Did you have Emeralda with you?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
If you don't, I wonder what happens, right?
I think you actually have to have her.
To even access this? Like it won't let you go up it? Oh, the manhole, you mean?
No, to trigger the scene.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You may get a hint, but I don't know. FakeNet might know.
Initializing FakeNet.
Data not found.
FakeNet defeated.
Fatality.
or not. Who knows? So, yes, June Mermaid begins to play, and then you know something is going to happen with Emeralda, because this song has, I think it's only been used for a non-Emeralda scene maybe once. Maybe.
So far. It's my favorite song in the game now, I think.
Faye says, "Where are we?" And then he sort of is beginning to fill in his memories by sort of remembering what the scene looked like and the assets, I guess, for lack of a better term, of the scene 4,000 years ago or whatever.
They're overlooking like a town square.
Yeah.
Or like a mall square almost.
Yeah, it's more like they're in a mall or a overlooking like a large gathering of people that you quickly begin to understand they are gathering around a large Christmas tree.
Yeah, there's well, it's an interesting way they introduce this. It starts off with bright colored lights that twinkle all around the scene like a J.J. Abrams film.
Yeah.
And then the square where the center of the thing fills in with the ghosts of people, and then it materializes into a Christmas tree. And then there's spotlights also on the Christmas tree. Well, I assume it's a Christmas tree. What the hell else would it be?
Well, I mean, you can't really have a Christmas tree without a Christ. But also we know that,
I mean,
happy holidays.
Well, that, and we know that they are taking aspects of culture, NBA, Wimbledon, and then just employing it in whatever way they see fit. I mean, all that shit's made up anyway.
Yeah, some of this stuff may be baked into the way humans would eventually develop a society.
Inevitably,
anyway.
there will always be a pagan tree that they celebrate.
Exactly. So, yes, the scene here is Kim and Elly.
Now, they materialize as ghosts, and then they become real.
Yes. And
they wish each other a happy new year.
Kim is congratulating Elly on making it through another year. And I, too, also think that we should start congratulating each other.
Once they're reaching close to their 30s, their life's a third of the way over.
Hey, man, congrats, you're not dead yet.
We did it.
Hey, man, we made it through another year. Actually, that's a very 2020 thing, actually. We made it through the year, guys.
Yeah, who knows how it's going to go?
Yeah. We have Christmas on this planet, like I said, probably because Christmas is baked into the DNA of the subject of Deus, or it's just a convenient way to convey this particular plot point.
Zeboim is definitely capitalist.
Yeah, for sure.
So Elly tells Kim that he sounded like an old person speaking.
Yeah, she doesn't know why she feels like that, but she feels that he sounds older than he normally is.
We start to learn that he is weathered and affected by the war that is happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the war is, recalling my Perfect Works narration, is like terrorist cells of Ravine going around sabotaging shit.
Yeah.
Trying to like fight for poverty. Is that correct?
I'm not exactly sure what they're...
Not for poverty, but to protest.
Yeah. Maybe they're like an armed version of Occupy Wall Street, maybe. A more organized version of that, or militant version of that. Yeah, I read it differently, though. I read it as he's sounding old because his past lifetimes are coming through here, like slowly. He's not a perfect contact, so he doesn't have everything sort of combined into one soul at this point in time, but he's subconsciously drawing from something that he saw maybe in a previous lifetime.
Elly points out that they have come this far without getting involved in the war.
Yep.
That's her solution to that question. Kim points out that people are still dying, and Elly asks to stop talking about all of this, not to dwell on the past year, start over with the new year. Which is very traditional advice when you want to put all your past problems behind you with an arbitrary date on the calendar.
Yeah, it's what we do. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Kim makes a resolution.
He does.
He resolves to spend the day, at least, without worrying.
Mm-hmm.
Then the camera pans around and reveals both of them looking at the holiday tree.
Beautiful holiday tree, Eric. Why are you taking the Christ out of Christmas, Eric? War on Christmas.
I lost it.
Why are the Starbucks cups only red? They don't have trees on them anymore.
God damn it.
Then we get a new scene. It is Kim and Elly having a conversation in a skyscraper bar area.
I pictured the Space Needle for some reason.
This really reminds me of a scene in Evangelion between Ritsuko and Misato, where they are like out on
a date,
on holiday or whatever.
Yeah,
and she gets drunk and mad, and Kaji carries her home or whatever. Remember that scene?
That was good guy Kanji.
Yeah, it was. It was the.
Is that his name, Kanji?
Kaji.
Kaji.
Yeah, it was. But the scene was very evocative of that. I'm not sure if there's any explicit.
There isn't. Like, I'm sure it wasn't done intentionally, but everything you do influences everything else.
Yeah.
So maybe on a subconscious level.
But I thought it was cool. I mean, they didn't have to go, like, they could have built this scene on an asset they already had.
Yeah, it could have been the restaurant from Ave, just remixed from a different angle.
Yeah, these assets are something that we see only in this moment and no other moments throughout the rest of this game.
They're having a nice nighttime date dinner.
Yeah, but Kim's pissed.
Somebody's having, I'm sure, if we haven't done it ourselves, in your life, I'm sure you've been to a restaurant where somebody's been having one during a dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Usually a guy fucking loses it.
Yeah, overly passionate about a particular thing.
Yeah, there's not quite enough salt on my breadstick. I haven't had a bad time at a restaurant myself because I'm perfect.
Oh, yeah.
But my wife freaked out one time at Denny's because they served eggs with glass in them.
Well,
I don't know what her problem was.
yeah, what the hell? Anyway,
Kim's
on this rant about a war. Idiots and
he's
fools.
having a time.
Yeah, he's screaming about a bunch of idiots and fools. Like, before you're even able to understand what he's mad about, it just cuts right into the scene where he's like, "You fucking idiots!"
Yeah, he screams, "Stupid idiots, bunch of fools."
Yes.
Elly's like, "You're too loud."
Yeah. He's mad about something. Elly's probably embarrassed here.
Yeah, but the Kim says he doesn't give a shit. He
Yeah.
doesn't care if they hear him. Everyone else here is also a fool. And then Elly's sprite kind of, I don't want to say bows her head, but definitely looks down like, when you realize you are powerless to stop the rant.
Yeah.
And they just need to complete it regardless of what happens to them.
The first thing that he says that tips us off into what he's angry about is he says, "What's the purpose of fighting each other on such a tiny planet as this?"
So he knows at this point.
Yes, he's very upset that wars have started, and I guess he's also
That
familiar
or they
with
have astronomy.
how small the planet is. Yeah.
But this is the trope where the angry man starts going off in public and the woman has to experience his shame for him.
Yeah, yeah. Elly says that she feels terrible for the child, but she doesn't, quote, think people in Ravine destroyed the generator with that intention. Elly blames the government here because, in her opinion, Ravine had no other way to express themselves other than apparently they bombed the generator. And I think other video games, contemporaries of Xenogears, also bombed generators, but from a different perspective. But
yeah. Kim blamed their desperation on fighting out of fear of being hunted into a corner, rushing into a fight as if there were only so many reserved seats to the right to life. He says that killing people as an act of terrorism or as a protest against wars that kill people is just as stupid. And then he reiterates that everyone else is a fool. Then, like you said, Elly gets the only Ravine reference of this game.
Yeah.
By name.
Pretty much.
About them killing a child.
Kim goes on to discuss how 5 people died in his ICU.
Yeah.
Because it lost power. And
yeah.
so
we're assuming the terrorist attack caused a loss of power.
Yeah. This scene invites you to figure the shit out yourself because they don't really spell a lot of things out for you, which is kind of nice. And the scene here is that Kim is upset because apparently he works in an ICU. I didn't know this before this moment.
Well, he was a hospital. I mean, that was in Perfect Work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So much Perfect Works.
Kim's a doctor.
Yeah.
And he lost 5 people in his ICU that night because these terrorists bombed a generator for a different reason. It's the whole idea of how does the expression of violence as a protest and the sort of
the real life consequences,
collateral damage. Yeah.
Yeah. When he wonders why humans want to die and also live at the same time, he concludes they are defective creatures and, again, a bunch of fools.
Yeah.
Do you see this, if had he lived longer, as slipping into maybe another Groff scenario?
Yeah,
like just
he could've.
losing his fucking grip?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that kind of the circling quest of the Contact where he has good intentions, but eventually slips into a state of grief and sorrow and then ultimately fucks everything over? And that's what our current... the perfect Contact is the one that can break that cycle, and this is like Kim's early descent into that. He'll meet an early end, but yeah, he's definitely going down that path here.
He says the genetic defect rate is up, the birth rate is down, max life of 30 years, which we've known before. But then Elly actually kind of diffuses his rant by asking a very honest question.
She asks if she's a fool too.
She's included in all of that.
Yep. She says that she can't have children. Her exact quote is, "I am a creature waiting to become extinct."
Which she learned today when she had a physical.
Ah.
She can't create life, yeah.
Did we learn that in this scene? I must have missed that exact line.
I just have she had a physical today and can't have children because of hereditary genetic damage.
Oh, okay. Okay, I must have missed the fact that she had a physical that day.
And then the line you said about a creature waiting to become extinct, which is interesting way to phrase that.
Yeah, Kim, he can't respond. He's unable to do so.
He has no reply.
And I get it because what she said is fucking morbid, like extremely morbid.
But it reset his perspective.
Yeah,
when it made it personal as opposed to just, I mean, I'm sure the people that died in his ICU were personal, but they weren't Elly.
Yeah.
Right?
Then we cut to a new scene.
Yes, we're in a bedroom. It is a rich person's bedroom.
It is. Kim is, he's a 1%er maybe.
Yeah, there's big fish aquariums. There's a high chair next to an art easel, signifying the art projects. There's shirtless Kim in bed with Elly. He stands on the bed while she keeps the sheets up. I don't know if either one of them are wearing clothes. And did you notice the weird thing about his aquarium is there's one side that is a legit aquarium, then the other side is a reflection or a projection of that aquarium?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's some strange future tech I don't quite get.
They look like eels.
Yeah.
I thought the easel was a really cool touch to signify that the painting aptitude that the Contact has did not start with Lacan. It started at least at this point, if not earlier.
So, Chris, when you're a rich guy living in a high rise in a big city,
Yes.
what do you do when you want to think?
Well, you've got to stand up and look at the cityscape.
That's right, out of your big window.
You also must be wearing extremely high-waisted pants.
Yes, for all your karate moves.
Yes, but you can only wear high-waisted pants if you like have a certain build. Like if you're very slim and muscular, like Bruce Lee, which Kim is that, so he's good, and that's what he's doing. And yeah, he goes and has this like
Soliloquy.
Yeah, conversation with himself.
I think the thesis was, quote, "It's no good and it's not going to work." So is he trying to mentally solve problems and then vocalizing the opposition to those solutions?
I think so. He discusses with himself that somehow we must break the spell of the humans on this planet will die out.
Yes.
All life, for that matter. And he wonders about...
But then he corrects himself.
A pure life. He's having the very explicit, like, break the cycle moment here that all protagonists have, even though Kim is not necessarily the protagonist. He's part of the protagonist, and I think that every version of the Contact probably had to have this moment.
Yeah. Then he corrects himself and says, "Fuck humans, life on this planet will just die out."
Yeah.
That is his solution. He wants pure life that is not cursed, which is not attainable for his generation of humanity.
But I guess he's got an idea.
Yeah, because next we go to a lab.
Yes, he's in his laboratory. Emeralda is in the tube.
Yes.
This is the exact same laboratory that we encountered in the Zeboim ruins, correct?
Yes. He concludes she is the new spirit vessel that will break the curse. This is Faye's solution to the problem.
Yes, and Elly's here, right?
Eventually, yeah. I think so.
He says to her, "It hasn't awakened yet. The form was created by nanomachines, but neural simulation hasn't been done by the assembler tower yet."
Capital letters, assembler tower.
Yes.
Is that just like a giant PC tower, the mainframe, or is that just who knows? We don't know.
Whatever's trying to, I guess he's still got some final tests to run on this thing, basically, before it can function as a living creature, as he says it.
Mm-hmm. He had to recreate people at the atomic level by referring to the structural patterns of Kim and Elly.
Yes.
So it's their kid.
It is true. She's the one hope for humanity. Elly says, "Can this child be the angel who gives us more time?" And I thought at this point it's very interesting that Kim sort of wrote the program for Emeralda using the DNA of both he and Elly, who are two special people in in humanity and the Deus system.
Who've never actually had children before, right?
Exactly. And does the fact that Kim created this thing as this perfect being, like, is he just rolling the correct dice number? The fact that he created it from himself and Elly, like if they had been two regular people, would Emeralda be as special?
Yeah. Would her hair transform into a hammer and an anchor?
Like Krellian needed her because she was a very important nanomachine colony. Did he need her because she was built with the DNA of Faye and of the Contact and the Anti-Type? Or was this just a perfect assemblage of nanomachines that he needed to
That's a good question.
fill in his gaps?
I'm pretty sure it's column A and column B.
Yeah, I think
because with his obsession with the Elly character, I'm sure he wanted a piece of that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that acquiring Emeralda as just an additional set of nanomachine technology to exploit for the Project Noah or whatever the fuck he called it, it made her all the more powerful given the fact that she was created with the DNA of these actual two very, very special people to the Deus system.
There's a long zoom out on the lab, and that's it for our flashback.
It is. Yes.
We're back in the present.
We're back to the present, and Emeralda begins to remember things as well.
Yes, she remembers Kim died because the soldiers tried to use her.
Yes, and the way she phrases this is very infantile, like she hasn't fully learned how to speak yet. She says, "Kim died right before town died. It was because of soldiers of town tried to use me." Implication being that, I guess, this is the scene that we saw in the past when the soldiers were breaking into Kim's laboratory and Elly was shutting the door and she was shot. And I guess Kim, eventually they got in there and
classic
killed Kim.
scene.
Yeah, classic scene, indeed.
I want to say they didn't get Kim. I want to say Kim disappeared.
Yeah, he may have. He may have. He sought the power but never found it and it died out.
That was his freak out moment after the sacrifice.
Yep.
Faye says the memory of Emeralda was in his soul, that is in his soul was left in there for Emeralda's sake so that he would recognize her.
Yes. Emeralda says, "While I, being held, Krellian told that I, the ultimate work of art that technology gave birth to, yes, I knew I was thing. Look, my body, different from Maria, Margie, and Elly. Human imitation, but different."
So two things. One, this fucking guy telling Emeralda that she was the ultimate work of art.
Yeah, it's kind of...
Creep.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing he did with Elly, but now that we kind of understand that part of Elly is baked into Emeralda.
It makes a little bit more sense. Still creepy.
Yeah.
And when she says her body is different, she doesn't mean nanomachine like. She means she's still child versus these adults, or in Maria's case, probably physically mostly an adult.
Yeah.
So she resolves to become an adult.
Yeah, and
Faye confirms that Kim was waiting for this moment.
yes. It's kind of touching too because like we haven't got a lot of moments with Emeralda at this point in time, and she really hasn't had the opportunity to have any character development at all.
This is round 2 after a stunted round 1.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's nice that it's on display here that she is like, maybe with the exception of Elly, she is maybe the most connected person to Faye now, because Faye has everything from Kim within him as well.
She lives across time.
Indeed.
She thanks Faye for being a substitute Kim, and then Emeralda wants to make Faye and Elly proud to be their child.
Yes, Faye says...
That's optimistic too, because she's telling Faye that they're going to get Elly back implicitly by saying that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Faye says, yes, you are the child I or Kim wished for. Sort of equating himself with Kim, and previously he was sort of playing the Kim role for Emeralda, but now he's saying, you know what, I'm like,
sure,
we're all here.
Yes, Faye is Kim, Emeralda.
Yes, Faye is Kim. Faye's Kim is Kim.
Then her body gets hot, and she asks Faye to hold her tight and don't let go.
Yes, at this moment is when, just before this moment is when the treasure which cannot be stolen starts to play.
Mm-hmm. It pings.
Yes.
And then she glows blue and turns into an adult. She spins in a circle to like show you all the sides of her sprite.
Yeah.
And then she thinks that because she is an adult, she will not get in his way anymore, which is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, now I won't be this bother to you.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but at the same time, she's sort of gaining some agency.
So what's fucked up about this is that's it.
Yeah.
And then when you get back to the Yggdrasil or wherever you go, no one talks about this.
Yeah.
No one points it up. Hey, you just grew 15 years.
No, yeah, it just happened. And it's there.
Hey, whatever.
Sure. I really like this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it didn't feel as earned as maybe it could have had this been a fully formed game with more moments for Emeralda, but I still really liked it. It was...
With Final Fantasy VII on the brain, it reminds me of the scene where you can go back and see what happened to Cloud and Zack, like this totally optional but very lore-heavy thing just tucked away in some weird part of the game.
Yeah.
Where someone actually tried to make decent flashback lore cutscenes. Like it wasn't just a text log or an audio log or something.
Indeed. Yeah, it was really great.
And that is all for Zeboim?
That's all. We have nothing else to give. Sorry. Podcast over. Just kidding. We're going to keep doing more. Oh yeah, let's check in with the RealNet, Eric.
Initializing RealNet.
Sure.
The RealNet is a collection of patrons who listen to us record live on Discord. Thank you for joining us tonight, RealNet. Cliff Racer says, LOL at all these suckers diving down to the abysmal plane when there was an elevator all along, in reference, in reference to the
divers.
Yeah.
That's a good pull.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Alter Impulse says, yeah, Zeboim really does come off as if it were built to be a hybrid of a Japanese and Western city.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very Western-centric point of view just because we live in a Western area.
Bessie says, I always just assumed that Deus guided them towards Zeboim, sort of talking about how or the same thing we were talking about earlier. Alter Impulse says, actually, I think Zeboim dragons are weaker than the Dune Man Isle ones.
It's a possibility.
Possible. There's a couple of instances of enemies being named the exact same thing as they were in the past, but being a little bit stronger. I think that happened with the Medusoids.
Yeah. And they, the tier, like all the stuff outside of Shavat is more powerful than it was when we were in Shavat.
Yeah. Alter Impulse says, and this is me being stupid too, Alter Impulse says, oh, do you know about the call gear thing in battles? Which is something you could do to avoid being owned. And I literally forgot about it at some point in time. I could have...
Like, I know it's there, but I always choose to hit escape and just roll the dice for no reason.
Yeah.
Because it could be slightly faster if I'm able to do that rather than call gear and then escape for safety.
Yeah. Alter Impulse says, I swear every man in the Zeboim area wore the Ace Attorney style.
Yeah.
Cliff Racer says, I kind of like about how the game doesn't incorporate the Zeboim area into the plot. It makes the world more real than a sequence of set pieces. Which, you know what, that's a really good point because we kind of needed some levity's not the right word, but we needed to something else to go after rather than just be ushered to the next sequence. Quickstacular says, that Heisenberg uncertainty principle, though, I thought I would understand this now that I was an adult and a real scientist, but the way it's related in this game, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know that it necessarily does a great job of elucidating the finer principles of that.
Bessie says, thought I had broke my game the first time since my fuel was all stuck at 100 after buying all the Big Joe gear.
Yeah, if you're especially younger and you're not it's a secret shop. It's going to have the best gear.
Yeah.
And then you get this and it's like a joke item. You think Big Joe swindled you for big bucks.
Yeah. Alter Impulse offers a strategy for grinding gold here by grinding frogs in the Anima Relic Dungeon 2.
Frogs, croakers.
Croakers, yes. Bring someone with a multi-target attack like Emeralda and burn up all the croaker tribes over and over again. Get the scales until you hit 99 and then trade them in at Kislev.
Oh, yeah. That would have been helpful to me from the past.
Niston says, by the way, I think it's fair that nobody was stunned about Emeralda's growth. Someone turning 15 years old out of nowhere is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of the current situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good point.
Again, Mass Effect 3, the Prothean rolling with Shepard. It's like, of course, it's the ancient.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah. So, thank you for listening, Eric. Stay tuned for the outtakes. This episode was a production of Retrograde Amnesia. Thank you, Eric, for all of your hard work editing the podcast. Thank you, Mark,
Shepard,
for the intro track. If you like the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/retroam. Get early access, bonus episodes, mini-series, and more. Find us on Twitter at RetroAmnesiaPod. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please give us a rating and review on Apple Podcast. It will help people discover the show. If you have questions or feedback, email the show at retrogradeamnesiapodcast@gmail.com. Shout out to The Real Net for joining us tonight. And until next time, we will
kill God.
And now you may go back to sleep. Sorry, I stepped on your line there, Eric. I didn't mean to do that. I just got ahead of myself. Jesus.
Well, I knew we were going to change it up for the last. I was like, shit, are we there? Are we there? Did we just do it?
No, we haven't killed God yet.
Yeah.
We're soon. Don't slouch.
I try to be Kyle MacLachlan shrinking into Dougie, the Dougie chair.
God. Twin Peaks: The Return is so good.
So good. That might be my favorite television show.
Can you imagine? I was every night when I was watching that show, every night after the kids and my wife went to bed, my decision was watch Twin Peaks: The Return or play Nier Automata. It was just a wonderful time in my life.
What a combo.
Yeah, it was great. Bessie says, my current Zoom in Teams background is picture of the Red Room.
Have you watched the Netflix short where David Lynch interviews a monkey with a human mouth?
No, I've heard about it, but I've not been in the state in which I want to go through that. So let me just drag my waveform to the lower screen here so I can keep an eye on it. All right. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Chris.
Oh, wait, that's not the right
thing.
thing.
No, you fucked that up.
We already did that. Also, we are united with the fake net.
Initializing fake net.
How much blood do you think is in Shaq?
No.
You want to go take 5, man?
No, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I just didn't write it on here. It's just an oversight. I was working so hard on all my notes, and I didn't do that.
Initializing fake net.
In this next outtake, sound baffling material inexplicably falls off the wall as Chris is speaking.
No one gives us any sort of American or not necessarily American, but like skyscraper type thing. There's nothing we can do. For the listening audience. A piece of acoustic foam padding that's on my wall just fell off the wall while I was talking. So
you might have made it if I didn't lose it.
Yeah, I was trying, but whatever. I need some better adhesive, I guess.
Stupid.
Fucking put your podcast pants on.
I don't know. I don't have a wireless mouse yet. Mine still plugs in.
Are you fucking serious?
It came with my computer in 2003.
Like 7. I should give you one.
All right. You know what? The anxiety of worrying about batteries, not for me.
I've replaced this battery like once.
Yeah, well, I've replaced mine 0. Who's the winner here?
I'll give you a battery, Eric. Believing in religious sect leaders and gathering around the totalitarian. Quickstackler is making fun of me for not being able to pronounce totalitarian.
Totalitarin. Teetotaling.
Can't do it in the middle of a sentence. I can do it on its own.
We need to write down like a list of our own weakness words. For me, it's milk. Yours is Bloodivic and totalitarian.
Yeah. I always thought of 7-Eleven as being some sort of holy grail type place
Yeah.
because we don't have them here.
No, but they're in like 95% of the country.
Yeah.
But we don't have them. It is pretty fucking crazy. It's a good store.
Mhm.
I mean, as good as any gas station can be, really.
It's no Bader's Food Mark.
It's no Wawa.
The first one is some background on the Eldritch. The Eldridge. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is it?
Eldridge, yeah, with a DGE.
Eldridge.
Eldritch is Lovecraft.
Eldridge. Yeah, the first one's with Eldridge.
Yeah, when Hampson.
I once got really upset during a sort of dinner date with my wife because I could kind of see over my wife's shoulder, and the couple, they were a little bit older. They were old. They were probably like our parents' age, but they were looking at the woman's phone and they were trying to pick out a movie to go see.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept like finding a movie on the phone and turning it around. And every movie she picked just looked it was just like the worst trash movie.
Failure to launch.
Yeah, I don't remember which era this was, so I don't have any good examples, but it was definitely like something that would be universally just panned by critics because it's panned good or bad?
Pan's bad.
Ignored. Yeah, thank you. And it just I was like, why does she want to see that movie? And I kind of said it too loud. And
they heard you.
I don't think that they heard me, but my wife thought that I was too loud in my. It wasn't about a fucking war though, which Kim he's going on something. Your wife texted me today, by the way.
What?
Your wife texted me today. You mean to read it?
Excuse me.
I mean, I only know one Tiffany, I think. Well, my neighbor's name is Tiffany, but I didn't even have her phone number on my phone, so I'm glad she identified herself. This is really weird.
Wifetext.com.
This is on topic, by the way. It says, "Hey man, it's Tiffany. I am looking at a subreddit of songs for my Animal Crossing town and found that people have composed and found this. It is the Animal Crossing town song Xenogears Faraway Promise."
Yeah, there's like a xylophone synthesizer thing in New Horizon. You can...
Oh.
You're doing drops for dialogue for when you get bumped in a crowded setting. Oh.
So, thank you for listening, Eric.
What?
Thanks for listening.
I participated.
And participating. Yeah, you participated. Shit, can you imagine what this podcast would be like if it was just me? Jesus. And then I said, I'm going to use it.
Thank you.